to the Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions podcast with Brent Bailey. And at the tech booth, Jody Cook-Bailey and Luke Cardiel. We are growing our circles of connections and knowledge together with encouraging conversations and positive communications. And now, Brent Bailey.
And happy Wednesday, everybody. It's good to have you with us on Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions. It's Brent Bailey. It is a hump day. It's the middle of the week, and we have another great show planned for you today as Dr. Mark Sherwood's going to be with us for part 2 of a 3-part interview where we talked about absolute direction and really beginning and expanding the wellness journey. I know we're getting ready to get into the new year, and that means New Year's resolutions, and we wanted to give you something that'll help you get there. And right now, I'm being joined over at the tech booth by Jody and by Luke. And guys, we got lots to talk about today, so let's get this party started. All right?
Yeah.
Today is the 21st of October, and it is
Halloween right around the corner.
Yeah,
it's just like right there.
Yeah.
And if you were going to dress up, who are you going to dress up as?
Ooh, go Luke.
This would be the first time I've ever seen Luke even dressed up. I mean,
I don't.
One year didn't.
No, remember we all went to MegaCon one year and he didn't dress up.
Yeah,
I
made my girlfriend at the time kind of mad.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, yeah, one year him and Harry and Danielle, these were all people that were on the staff with us.
Yeah.
All three came dressed as me.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome. And honestly, you pretty much took the cake.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks he's my son
exactly.
anyway. I ain't old enough to have nobody that old. Anyway, so there's lots going on with costume buying and things like that.
Yes.
I know Peyton has a Mario costume.
Yeah.
And he's already asking for something else. We went trick-or-treating a few weeks ago over at Universal, and it was a really cool time.
Who do you think I could be? Who do you think I could, like? Who do I look like?
Brent Bailey.
Yeah. Who else has a beard? I don't know.
Lots of people do.
Have beards.
Yeah. There's a lot of celebrities I've seen. I'm like, hey, he kind of looks like Luke.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's true.
It is true.
It's true.
Yeah, but I can't think of it right now.
Let's meditate on that. Anyway,
Yeah.
drop into the comments below. And
I was
tell us
supposed
what
to
Luke
be.
should
I was
dress up
supposed
as.
to be Bob from Bob's Burgers. Remember that?
Oh yeah, you were. She was gonna. That's right.
That would work.
So who are you going as for trick-or-treating this year? Drop in the comments below as you're clicking the share button and let us know who you're going to go trick-or-treating. If you're going to any parties or anything like that. Of course, be using wisdom because of COVID. But
Right.
Anyway.
Absolutely.
All right, so today is National Pumpkin Cheesecake Day,
Cheesecake.
and with keeping up with our theme that we like to keep on the show here, we like to talk
Food,
about food
more
a lot.
food.
So I know that National Pumpkin Cheesecake Day, you think that is I wonder if they invented that day for like the people that are into the pumpkin spice and the girls.
Oh, I'm sure they
the girls
did.
with the Ugg boots.
Somebody
and stuff
that's
like
into that actually probably created
The
it
lobbyists
themselves.
at Big Cheesecake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Cheesecake Factory probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you like pumpkin cheesecake? Have you ever had it? It's good.
Yeah.
Never.
Head over to your local Cheesecake Factory. The closest one here is at the Mall at Millennia.
Yeah.
And so actually there's a brand new
There
one.
is a new one.
Brand new one over by the outlet malls.
Yeah,
That's right.
uh-huh.
It's closer to us.
Yeah.
I like cheesecake, but I can't eat a whole lot of it.
Right.
one
It's
slice
so
is
rich.
good.
So rich.
I can't even eat. I
I
don't
was
even
gonna
think
say,
I
I
need a
can't
whole
even eat a
slice.
whole slice.
I'd split it. So
If it's plain, you know what? I can eat a whole slice of like plain cheesecake with like strawberry. What's it like?
Yeah,
what is
drizzle on it,
Drizzle, whatever you
strawberries
want to
and-
call
yeah.
it. Yeah. Sauce.
Yeah, it's good.
That's
right.
good.
All right.
Yeah,
Today
the
is
next
also
one.
National Reptile Awareness Day.
Reptile.
And
Yeah.
we live in Florida, and it's like the sky is blue.
Yeah.
Reptile awareness, sky is blue, grass is green.
Yeah.
Anything else obvious out there?
So
Yeah.
what do you do for reptile awareness? Do you watch Jurassic Park?
Dress up like Steve Irwin. I don't know. What do we
Yeah.
do? Do we know?
I don't know.
I think watching Jurassic
We
Park
go outside
is,
and we say hi to our neighbors.
you
Listen,
Reptile
go
neighbors.
outside and just step
I
on the
woke
ground
up
and
one
see all the
day
lizards.
after a nap. On Sundays, Jody and I, we pastor a church, so
We're
we get up
early and-
from a nap, like most pastors on Sunday afternoon, and I walk out, and there's 3 policemen standing in my front yard, and I'm like, what's going on here? And the guy goes, sir, don't come out here. You have a gator in your bushes. Somebody posted a picture from just right before they called the police, and the gator was right by our front door.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
You don't need to
It
tell
was.
me to be aware. I know.
I know.
We watched I live streamed that. And many of
The
our
devil's trying to
Yeah.
come after you, man.
we live streamed that, had about 1,500 views of that, people watching them mess with that gator in my front yard. And then they handcuffed him.
God.
They
But
handcuffed
God,
the
yes.
gator and put him in the back of his squad car. So
Yes. They did.
just the other day, I took out trash and walked out around the corner, and there was a big 6-foot-long black snake laying out there, and
Yeah.
he jumped, and I jumped, and I screamed, and he took off, and
I was gonna say, and he screamed.
I'm very
I'm constantly having to stop my dog from eating lizards.
oh yeah, absolutely.
absolutely, yep.
Yep.
So
we have to do the same.
happy
thing.
National Normal Day in Florida. So, all right, what else happening today, guys?
Speaking of reptiles, today is National Hag Fish Day. Now, a hagfish, and I wish I had a picture up there, but
No thanks.
it actually looks like a snake.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
mean,
Are you
it's-
supposed to
it's
eat it or what?
Ugly, and I don't know. I don't think I would.
Not
I
all
don't think
fish
so
are for
because
eating.
I think that's a fish that it like has lots of slime and
Ugh.
Okay,
kind of known for that.
let's
so we
move
can move
on.
on. So, but that's happy Hagfish Day to you, Hagfish. I don't know.
Okay. Today is also support your local Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
And, that's something we did as soon as we started the church. We moved here, and one of the first things we did was join our local Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
Business people, you make the world go round right now. And I know
Yeah.
that this has been an uncertain year, but your brothers and sisters and supporters in the Chamber of Commerce are there. For those of you who are local in your local areas, this is a day to remember your local businesses.
Yeah.
The Chamber of Commerce there, man, those folks are really doing a lot for your community.
They are.
In my opinion, besides the church, locally owned businesses do more for a community than anything else. Schools, churches, and businesses are just what makes it go around. So.
Yeah.
And then lastly,
Medical Assistant Day.
And
National Medical Assistant
and
Day.
we want to just say thank you so much for
Thank you.
everybody
Yeah.
that serves in this capacity, because since March, this has been a very unusual time.
It has.
Really weird time.
It has. And they've taken on extra things, extra duties. And in fact, I heard a story, I read a story on Facebook the other day about somebody that had to return like a medical equipment and to her doctor's office. And her and her daughter drove up, and the daughter got out of the car to go inside, and the medical assistant or whoever was at the front ran out and was like, you can't come in here, because a lot of the doctor's offices are now saying you can't come in, we're doing video teledocs, video calls, appointments. And so they took the equipment right there, and so it's just extra stuff. And so yeah, we appreciate
We
the medical
totally
assistants.
Extra
do.
work and extra risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and they're putting themselves in harm's way
They are.
for all of us. So thank you so much,
Yeah.
medical assistants, for all of your hard work.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right.
Can't see me
Today,
clapping.
yes, we are. Yes, give them a big round of applause. Thank you very much. Today, October the 21st. In 1959 was the day the Guggenheim Museum in New York opened its doors for the first time. Has anybody ever been there? You ever been there?
I've been outside of the one in Venice,
Wow.
Italy. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
There's
impressive.
one in Venice.
I didn't
Had no idea.
It was closed that day, but we were in Venice and we were like going all over
That's
the place.
The one in New York City is absolutely a marvel. Of course, Frank Lloyd Wright built it. So, anyway, it opened this day in 1959. That's what's going on in the country right now. We're going to take a second, jump into our guest for part 2 of an interview. Let's expand your search, everybody. If you were with us last time, you know that we started a 3-part interview with Dr. Mark Sherwood of the Functional Medical Institute in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He is a nutrition and health expert, and some of the things that he was beginning to talk about, he was talking about the first step is the physical change. What we're going to get into today, he begins to talk about the mental side of this, and this is really some of the toughest things for people, is to get over that mental hurdle. And we're going to talk about that today in part 2 of our Absolute Direction series that we have with my guest, Dr. Mark Sherwood. Changing. I know for me in my life, I know that when I began to grab a hold of the principles that he's talking about, it really did start to make a difference in my life. And I also understand the overwhelming, change that happens. And so we're really glad to have him back with us today. So please welcome back to the program, Dr. Mark Sherwood. And we are here again, and we're going to continue on. We were talking about last time about rest and how important it is. And really, as we start to turn the corner from the physical into the mental, I know that some people are really overwhelmed. Before we get to mental, the exercising and movement, that really does bother people when they start talking about that.
It does, and it's important because exercise can be known as paying the butt for people, really, if you want to get right down to it. I don't like it. But here's the thing. Transition the idea of exercise to the concept of movement, because we need to move to live. When we move, we live. When we stop moving, we start dying. That's just a fact of life. So the more you move, the more you're living. And actually, movement will metabolize the stress sort of chemicals in the body that we'll talk about next, such as cortisol, as we get into the emotional piece. But here's a goal for people. Start small, baby steps, literally and figuratively, 100 to 150 minutes per week to start of walking. If you can just set yourself a week goal and accomplish that per week, make your goals, all of them, failure proof, and you'll win this game. But you got to start small like that. So that's where we would go with the physical movement piece.
Yeah, I was just going to say that most people think they have to go join a gym and spend hours, become gym rats, or I remember back in the 80s, I know my mom was big on joining like aerobics classes and things like that, and it was great for the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, but then it becomes almost like a duty or a chore, and it becomes a dread for people. But yet these small, easy decisions to start off doing something makes a huge difference. I had a guy tell me one time that just walking for 30 minutes is really a huge milestone for most people.
That's right. There was a study that's done, and many studies have been replicated similarly, that compared the effects of Prozac as an antidepressant with walking as an antidepressant, and hands down the walking wins every time. It metabolizes adrenaline much better. So this is a necessity. It's not an option. It's got to be one of those non-negotiable things to move. Even before we came on, I went out and my noon break and walked around the building complex here, which is about a quarter mile around. So I walked around twice just to prepare myself for this interview today, so I could think clearly. And this is important because as we transition into emotional health or wellness, I mean, stress, as we all know it, can overtake any human being, and it's not the covert killer, Brent. It's the overt killer. Stress is one of these things we got to get a hold of. And one truth I want people to get, and if nothing else, catch this about stress: it is not a noun, but it's a verb. And I can prove it to you with a definition. The definition of stress is the action you and I take in response to life's expected or unexpected occurrences. So if stress is an action, that makes it a verb. Thereby we have a choice, and we don't have to let something that we cannot put into a bucket, a person, place, or thing, affect us, because we have the choice whether to respond or not. And the typical example is like a traffic jam. I mean, you can get angry, or you can consider it a divine delay and turn on the music or turn on nothing, listen to silence. But ultimately, the traffic jam did not create the stress. Your selection of your response based upon your perception did. So if we can turn stress from a noun into a verb, that will give us more control over that and more power, because stress, if noun is the definition, can and will overpower you. But if verb is a definition, you can overpower and take control of that.
Oh my goodness, that's powerful right there. I know, for me, in my own life, stress has been something that is almost like you don't recognize that it's there. It's like some people would disguise it as intensity. I'm just really involved in what I'm doing. I'm just really, but really that's something that is really goes right back to what you're talking about. You're choosing to put something on that you're really not meant to carry, are you?
That's right. And in a way, this is classic, and this is going to be a 30-second exercise, and I want everybody to do this right now if you can. If you're driving, don't do it. But if you're not driving, please do. We can turn our system from a stress response to a relaxation response simply by what is called diaphragmatic breathing. So what I mean by that, when most people breathe, they breathe up and the chest comes up like this when we inhale. We need to turn the breath down into the diaphragm, which you can do that very simply by putting your hands just above your belly button. And when you inhale, you push outwards your belly. So you inhale, out goes the belly, the chest didn't move. Exhale, belly comes back. Inhale, the belly goes out. Exhale, belly comes back. The chest doesn't move. If you want to do that while laying on your bed at night, put a heavy book on your belly. You can put the Bible there if you want to, and work on raising the Word of God, if you want to take that as an illustration, with your belly. But that will guarantee going from a stress or sympathetic nervous system response to a relaxation or parasympathetic nervous system response. You can do that all day long while speaking to people, dealing with situations that are challenging. The hands go on the belly as a reminder. I do it all the time during consults because I want to be able to communicate clear, succinctly, and not in a rapid manner, because as we get stressed out, we begin to speed up everything, and speed is where mistakes are had.
Now, just explain to us real quick, how does that breathing change? What does that do? How does that biologically affect us?
So from a physiological standpoint, too much cortisol or stress is going to elevate blood pressure, elevate respiration, elevate heart rate, cause perspiration, muscle tension. Of course, it causes libido to go down as well, and it sort of causes appetite to sort of go down as well. On the other hand, when we get the relaxation response, all of those actions go the opposite direction, which is constructive, because how many people have hypertensive issues these days, or muscle cramps, or tension where they carry it in the back of their neck? So it is not only physiologic, but it deals with this autonomic nervous system balancing that we're supposed to have during the course of a well-balanced, optimal performing life.
Okay, so seriously, folks, I hope that you're catching all this, because this is a gold that is what we're giving to you right now. These things are imperative to develop, because the emotional and the mental side of it is just as much a big a part to play as how you feel physically when you're beginning this journey.
That's right, because you can't separate the physical, emotional, spiritual. They go hand in hand. It's like saying that we're going to go to the church for spiritual health, we're going to go to the gym for physical health, and we're going to go to the counselor for emotional health. That doesn't work. We're all this one human being with all these various components that's designed to operate in a synergistic, interdependent manner. So that's why even that breathing technique, even walking, even eating right, it all is going to help us in every other area of life as well.
My goodness. I believe the roofers have moved right directly over top of us right now. So that, I promise, folks, that's not me banging my head on anything. This is all good stuff. Okay, so as we turn into this emotional side of things, what are some real key steps besides, the breathing exercise? What are some things that we need to be doing for that?
Well, you got to take time out. I like to say we need to have some quiet or silent time. And obviously the no-brainer is to get quiet and pray. But let's take it one step further. How about take 10 minutes? 10 minutes a day. That's not significant. That's 70 minutes a week, to just absolutely sit still and say nothing. Listen to the sounds. Listen to silence. Many times when we disconnect like that, sit outside, I'm talking no wives, no husbands, no kids, no pets, no cell phone, no TV, no nothing. In that 10 minutes, you find absolute magic. You find gold. You find life again. You can begin to hear who you are. Someone call that meditation. I call it prayer. But nonetheless, you begin to hear God's voice. You begin to hear peace. And guess what? When you give yourself that 10 minutes, peace will begin to infiltrate your life. And you'll find out that you probably want more times like that. So that's just one simple, basic exercise that everybody can do. And if 10 minutes stresses you out, which it might, it might, start at 60 seconds. Seriously, just get your watch down there and set your alarm for 60 seconds. Just stare at it. I promise you do that every day, and you'll find yourself craving for more quiet. The body is meant to disconnect sometimes. Yes, we need to stay connected, but disconnection is important, because if we don't do that, we'll become emotionally overwhelmed. It will drain our system dry, and we'll become less powerful as a human being.
So, in a nutshell, we should stop ignoring the Breathe app on our phone when it says it's time to take a break there.
Stop ignoring your Calm app. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So as I know, for me, I know emotional side of it. When I was at my heaviest, and I used to weigh 400 pounds. I know that for me, I ate a lot emotionally, but it wasn't out of depression. It was kind of the way we celebrated just being around each other, and it was like, if you're going to do something, well, we might as well go eat. And when you were with family, it was a very emotional, happy time. But it really is. It's creating baggage in people's lives that they don't want there, even though they can look back on it and say, well, I was happy there. I wasn't depressed, because you hear so many people talk about eating from depression and things like that.
Yeah. Well, so here's where it starts. And this is something for the parents out there to realize for as you raise children, and for the people out there that are parents, that how this has affected their life. I call it a fistful of reasons why we behave as we behave. First of all, here's Brent at 5 years old, falls down his bicycle, gets road rash. Mom's going to give him an ice cream cone. So ice cream cone has been used to remedy pain. Brent goes and joins his first sports team, and they have a big victory. Let's go celebrate with an ice cream cone. So ice cream cones begins to be tangential with celebratory events. You now lose your game, and you're really disappointed. You start crying a little bit. Well, let's go celebrate with an ice cream cone, because that'll make you feel better. Then Brent gets a good grade in school, and we're going to celebrate that because we know that you achieved something. So achievement is now with an ice cream cone. And then finally somebody dies. Brent, you need an ice cream cone to remedy the grief you have. The bottom line is these high sugar, dopamine driving comfort foods. They're comfort foods because they do provide the drug-like effect of dopamine. Our brain and our amygdala remembers all that. So as we grow up, when we have these emotions, and I named all these ones that we commonly feel, we're doing what we know to do. We're using food as the medicine to remedy all those situations. So if we go back and say, I've got to change that pattern, it's not that the food's bad, it's that the pill or the remedy that I have chosen becomes a pattern, because I can't get away from these emotions in life. This is part of life. We're going to lose. We're going to win. People are going to die. You're going to have disappointments. You're going to have achievements. You're going to hurt yourself. All these things happen. So we just got to reframe it and begin to sort of put a trajectory in a different direction instead of using food for that. There are activities such as going to the park, vacation. How about going snow skiing or boating or fishing or hunting or just walking? I mean, these things are much more beneficial for us.
I mean, you just, I mean, that right there is, folks, that is, wow. I mean, my toes are hurting, but man alive, that's so good. It's just such a revelation of what you're saying is so right on. Everything was always marked with food. Everything. I can remember it like it was yesterday, and even still to this day. I mean, as well as we've been to a lot of events together and stuff. everything's evolving around a luncheon here and a luncheon there. But I notice, especially when I see some of your patients that are at these events, they're there with everybody. They're still, taking part of everything. But the choices they make when they're there are completely different than what they were a year before.
That's right. And the ultimate sort of evidence of a changed heart, transformed heart, and renewed mind is we do make better choices that become more habitual because they're more normal of what is going on inside of us. And it's these events, man, they're beautiful to celebrate the relationships, reunions, what people are doing, and conversations. It's celebration of life and people. We got to get away from sort of putting food on the pedestal above people. The scriptures talk about in Philippians 3:18 that, and this is not misapplied, but it talks about the enemies of the cross. Apostle Paul talks about it. One of the characteristics is he lists that their God is their belly. So it's interesting how we've allowed that to sort of leach into our lives, so to speak. And we can and must do better, because the real fellowship is not the food. The real fellowship is the people. And we need to celebrate the lives that we have and the opportunities that we have with giving ourselves life-giving food, so that we don't create inappropriateness in dealing with the emotions.
So that's part 2 of our interview with Dr. Sherwood. Amazing stuff, isn't it? All right, let's take a minute and stop for directions. As he was talking, he's talking about the mental aspect of this, and it's so important to make sure that anytime you're doing something challenging, your mindset is in the right place. Paul gave us some incredible words on how to achieve this. In Romans chapter 12, verse 2, he said, "Don't be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Don't go and approach what we're doing and what we're offering to you with the mentality that the world gives you. Go and put your mind on the things of God, and know that God created your body to be well. So you need to start thinking along the lines of the Word. And the best way to do that is to repeat the input of the Word, and watch what it happens as it changes your thinking, and in turn changes your life. It's worth it to invest in your thinking today. I promise it'll make a huge difference. All right? That's going to wrap it up for the show today. My thanks again to Dr. Mark Sherwood for another great amount of information. It was literally like drinking from a fire hose. I'm so grateful to Jody and Luke. Another great show, guys. Join us for part 3 on our next episode as we bring you absolute direction with Dr. Mark Sherwood. God bless. I hope you found what you were looking for today as you expanded your search and stopped for directions.
Thanks for joining us today. Connect with us on @ExpandingYourSearch on Facebook and Instagram, and @ExpandingSearch on Twitter. Relive any of our episodes on YouTube. We're available wherever podcasts are found, including Spotify.